this is not that difficult problem to solve if we want to solve it.
You know, just in talking to listeners, and especially now that we lost the Miramar Air Show, although it looked like it was going to be able to go on. Do you know why we lost the Miramar Air Show?
I just saw the same thing. I saw a news release about it. I was disappointed about it, but I guess I understand if the government's not operating and people are home from work, maybe it's not appropriate to have an air show.
Well, I mean, there's that, and then there's the other side of it, which is it's privately funded anyway, and it supplies a lot of money for the Marines.
Right.
And so, there's a balance there, and I think maybe we got on the wrong end of that balance.
Yeah, I didn't see anything more about it. You know as much about it as I do right now.
Well, Congressman, what are you guys doing now? Because most of the people that I have talked to are finding themselves in the position of, you've got kids, right?
Yeah.
And so they've been in a fight in the back of the car, and finally you just turn around and you go, I really don't care who started it. You're going to stop, or you're both going to your bedrooms. Right.
Well, in the way that I see it should go, the way I see that this can get cured is this. The House of Representatives is able to put something on the floor that the Senate has already agreed to, which is a continuing resolution to fund the government at the Republican level, which is quite a bit lower than the Senate budget. So it's a low spending level, and not put any more conditions on it. Now, we've been through a lot of exercises where we tried to get rid of the medical device tax, and which I supported. We tried to put other conditions on it, which didn't pass. Now we're going to recognize that we can't do this on our own. We have to have the support of the Senate and the President, and that's the kind of thing we can do on our own right now is pass that resolution.
What are the chances that's going to happen?
I don't know. It's not obviously. I'm in the minority. I have voted with the majority on a couple of these things. I voted with them on all the partial funding bills as well. Not that I think that that's the best policy, but I just think that if you have a chance to open the parks or support the veterans, it's hard to say no. But those aren't going anywhere either. So ultimately, it's not unheard of to put conditions on these motions, but when they don't pass, we got to go back to what would pass. That's what we do as legislators.
Congressman Scott Peters is with us here on News Radio 600 KOGO. And Congressman, you're in a unique position because you're in the majority, but you're also in the House. And it's, this battle between the House and the Senate. And you've got to be in a position to see a lot more of the inside action than, all the rest of us, because we're over here on the other side of the Potomac going, who are you people and what have you done with our country? So, at this point, who is going to be the first one to blink?
Well, I'm in the minority in the House as a Democrat, but
right.
I must tell you that the one thing that's happening is a lot of us, particularly freshmen for both parties, and I'm a member of the United Solutions Caucus, which is a group of freshman members on both sides of the aisle. There are a lot of conversations going back and forth about what it would take to break through this, and people are working on ideas, and I think that that's productive. I'll tell you that what we hear from my Republican colleagues is that a lot of the more junior members, they don't know what the leadership's thinking themselves. So we have something that's being run from the very top down, and a lot of the members are a little bit in the dark, but that is not stopping us from looking for solutions. And we may be in the position of having to step forward away from our leadership and break through and bring our solutions from the ground up.
Politically, are you guys starting to get a lot of contact from the people who have been, who are sitting here in San Diego? We've got a huge Department of Defense contingent that is sitting home twiddling their thumbs right now.
Oh, we have 30,000. It looks like we have 30,000 furloughs.
Right.
San Diego is the region with the seventh most federal workers, and I'm getting all sorts of stories from people. It's a nurse who works at the Navy Medical Center who's got 2 girls. It's an engineer who's worked for the Navy and Marine Corps for 26 years and has lost $10,000 of income this year already from the furloughs, and now has got to do this. It's a lot of people who are doing work that you and I and the rest of San Diego would consider very important work. That are caught up in this political games, and I'm as frustrated with anybody, and I would love to see it stop.
When you, have you guys had a chance, you in the House, Democrats in the House, had a chance to reach out to the Senate and actually have discussions with folks like Harry Reid? Because you had mentioned a lot of this seems to be coming from the top, and the junior members are kind of sitting around going, wow, this is not good. We got to do something. So have you reached across to your Senate brethren and said, hey, guys, we got to do something?
I'm not in a position to control the Senate. I'm not in a position to control the president for sure. We hear that the Senate's holding pretty firm in their position. But I'm in a position to work with people here, and that's really what I've been focusing on, LaDona, is talking to people who are friends of mine, Republicans and Democrats. Hey, what is it you're hearing? What's constraining you from acting? What are the pressures you're feeling, and how can we help support you so that we can get to a resolution? This is not even the worst thing we're going to face. The worst thing is the debt ceiling, which is in a couple weeks.
Right. And the last debt ceiling fight was also another disaster for us, where, people have had a chance to now look at the last debt ceiling. Now we had, then sequestration, and now this, and then the next debt ceiling, and they're thinking, okay, guys, you got to do something, man.
You're absolutely right. And the problem I have, I've been a Democrat for a long time, but I'm a American who loves a Republican Party that's strong and functional. And right now, I think they're having a war within the party, and I can't feel where they're trying to go. And what scares me about the debt ceiling is that the Treasury said that if we do not pay our obligations and our debt, it could send us back into a crisis as bad as the recession of 2008.
Well, and considering how much people are still feeling that crisis, I mean, look at all the people who are working part-time right now that used to have full-time jobs. Right. We're not out of it.
No, absolutely not. I think people recognize that although there's been a recovery, it's been a slow recovery. The last thing we want to do is go back to where we started from and go back to a recession like 2008 or worse. And that's really what concerns me, because if we don't have a game plan on the government shutdown, I'm worried we don't have a game plan on the debt ceiling, and that is something we cannot fool around with. We cannot at all ever acknowledge that we will not pay the debts that we have racked up. It would be like getting your American Express bill and writing to American Express says, I know I bought all this stuff, but it's time for me to cut my spending. I'm just not going to pay this bill. It does not work that way, and we have to really rise above that and not be political at all about the debt ceiling.
Scott Peters is with us here on KOGO. He is a member of the House from San Diego, and in the unique position of being in the minority in the House. The House is run by the Republicans, the Senate run by Democrats, and kind of, teeter-tottering there in the middle of this whole mess, trying to figure out how to fix it. What are the chances that you guys will be able to make some sort of a deal and include a debt ceiling deal as well, so that we don't have to go through this again? Because our tolerance is pretty low.
And I understand that, and I, as someone who's new here, I'm still amazed at how disengaged this institution can be from the folks back home. And what are the chances? I'm not much of a prognosticator. I can just tell you that it seems like there's a lot of people who want to fix it. We're just going to have to have a few more people push back against their leadership. I mean, I've been voting all weekend with Republicans on some. Well, not every time, but many times, to try to get a deal where there's policies I agree with. We're going to need that on both sides.
Scott Peters, thank you so much for your time.
All right, thank you.
Obviously, that was the congressman here on News Radio 600 KOGO. One of the